Lastly, I declare my allegiance and that of the other forces, over 500 soldiers, under my command, once again, to the wise leadership of His Excellency General Salva-Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Commander-in-Chief of SPDF, and Supreme Commander of all other organized forces.
Well, Riek Machar's party, the South Sudanese People Liberation Movement in opposition, SPLM-IO, is disintegrating from within. Just after the arrest of the first vice president of South Sudan, we have seen some notable movements within the SPLM-IO that have since signaled that the party is under distress and that there are some fault lines emerging from within the party. And in the latest move, 4 of the top politicians in the SPLM-IO have been suspended by the party. That is part of the story that I'm going to tell you in this video, who these 4 politicians are and why they were suspended from the party. As well as, I'm also going to tell you about what happened just a few days ago when about 600 troops that had pledged their allegiance to Riek Machar switched sides and now they are pledging their allegiance to Salva-Kiir Mayardit, the president of South Sudan. Well, this is bona fide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on the South Sudanese crisis, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, the crisis in South Sudan continues as Riek Machar is still under house arrest. But an even deeper crisis is looming in the party of the first vice president of South Sudan, Riek Machar, the SPLM-IO. Because from a memo that was dated 7th of April 2025, there have been suspensions of 4 top politicians in the SPLM-IO. And the charges of these politicians is that they wanted to overthrow the leader of the SPLM-IO, that is Riek Machar, and replace the leader of the SPLM-IO with another person who will be suitable for them. And the charges that have been given according to the SPLM-IO in this memo that I'm going to read out for you of the 4 people who were suspended by the party is that there are some suspicions of people who are in bed with the South Sudanese People Defense Forces and the SPLM in government that are trying to destabilize the movement and the operations of the SPLM-IO. According to that memo, Honorable Stephen Parkour was suspended from being a member of the Political Bureau, National Liberation Council SPLM-IO representative to REMEC, and membership of the party, as well as from his position as National Minister of Peace Building on the SPLM-IO ticket. And the charges for his suspension were that he was engaging in activities to support the SPLM in government, to create disunity in the party, and mobilize for the removal of Riek Machar as the chairman and commander-in-chief of the SPLM and SPLA-IO. And that is not the only person who has been suspended. Honorable Agok Makur Kur was also suspended from being a member of the Political Bureau, National Liberation Council, and membership in the party, as well as the member of parliament in the SPLM-IO ticket. And the charges for his removal was that he was causing disunity in the party and mobilization of the removal of Riek Machar from being the chairman of the SPLM-IO and the commander-in-chief. Another person who was also suspended on the 7th of April 2025 is Honorable Ding Lam, who was suspended from being a member of the National Liberation Council, member of the party and national member of parliament on the SPLM-IO ticket, and the charges that he was also causing disunity in party and the mobilization for the removal of Riek Machar. The last person that was also removed from that memo dated 7th April 2025 was Honorable Luke Thompson Thowan, who was suspended from being a member of the National Liberation Council and membership in the party. And the charges for his removal was that he was causing disunity in the party and the mobilization for the removal of Riek Machar. These are 4 of the top politicians in the SPLM-IO party of Riek Machar that have since been removed or suspended from the party, and they will face disciplinary action for being in bed with the government and causing destabilization within the party. Well, this is notable because this is coming at a time when their leader, Riek Machar, is under house arrest by the government of the day. And it seems as if the government of the day is not listening to any party or any institution, because many have said that the government should allow for Riek Machar to have his freedom, for him to speak, for people to meet him. But the government of the day has not been responsive to these cries by IGAD, by AU, by the US, by the UK, and other institutions that have called for the release of Riek Machar. The government of the day is saying that they are doing an investigation on Riek Machar and they are willing to go to the full length to conduct the investigation. And thereafter the investigation, then Riek Machar will be prosecuted or will be left free if there will be no any accusations against him. Well, his arrest has put the nation on edge as South Sudan, being a new country and just from a 5-year civil war, many are worried that South Sudan can slip back to the fighting that has been ongoing in the country, and they are now enjoying the peace from the revitalized agreement, and people and institutions are warning the leaders that you should not slip back to war because many innocents suffered from that war. And it's also important to note that this is not the only crisis that we are reading from the SPLM-IO. Just a few days ago, there were some defections from the SPLA-IO, that is the South Sudanese People Liberation Army in opposition, who defected from the party or from the movement to join the movement in the government, that is the SPLA in government. This group of troops, led by Brigadier General Gabriel Bol Anwer, switched their allegiance in several locations, including Panier, Lologo, and Rejaf training centers, as well as Got Makur. Well, according to Brigadier General Anwer, the defection was mainly caused by the dissatisfaction of the leadership of the SPLA-IO, that is the party or the troops of the movement armed struggle that is led by Riek Machar. And here is the voice of the general himself explaining why his troops are defecting and pledging their allegiance now to Salva Kiir Mayardit.
This declaration inspires confidence in our shared aspiration and foster constructive dialogue focused on addressing the challenges our nation faces. Together, we can push a united South Sudan characterized by peace, stability, and shared prosperity. Lastly, I declare my allegiance and that of the other forces, over 500 soldiers, under my command, once again, to the wise leadership of His Excellency General Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Commander-in-Chief of SPDF, and Supreme Commander of all other organized forces.
Well, these defections and the suspensions from the political party SPLM-IO are painting a weaker picture of the opposition in South Sudan. At a time when their leader is under house arrest by the government of the day, the opposition is seen as growing weaker and weaker by the day. It seems as perhaps a deliberate move by the government, or that the opposition is disintegrated and they did not have this in their plans, that their leader will be under house arrest at a time like this. Perhaps this has caught them by surprise, but the disorganization in the political party, in the opposition in South Sudan, is loud and is being heard from different fronts, and this is complicating the matter even worse, even as other factions within the party are trying to give direction of what to do next as their leader is under house arrest. This is causing the entire nation to be on edge over what will happen next in South Sudan. Well, I will keep you informed of the latest of what is happening in South Sudan regarding the latest crisis. Keep it bona fide.